What's up everybody, it's the Chill Scrub, and this is a video that I really wanted to make a long time ago. Today guys, I want to help you get out of the purple ranks. I know that Tekken 7 has been out for almost 5 years now. The game was released in June 2017 and now is 2022, the new year. And although there's been a giant rank inflation, there are still a lot of players that are struggling in red and purple ranks that are trying to get a little bit higher. So these tips that I'm about to give you, they should help you. I'm not going to like dig super deep into it. These are overall things that will improve your gameplay immediately if you decide to take my advice or you decide to put these things into practice. I decided to use a lot of my own stock footage. You know, what better way of seeing how you can get out of a rank by watching it live or watching some stock footage if you're actually playing matches. So I don't want to blow a whole bunch of smoke up your behind and you can see me struggling in purple ranks. So I want you to see me easily breeze through purple ranks and, you know, get to Fujin or the rank that you want to be. So with all that, let's go ahead and get started with the first tip here. The first tip here is slow it down and block, right? A lot of people, they utilize a lot of movement, a lot of Korean backdashing, a lot of sidestepping, and these are great things to have when you use them in their proper context. What happens is a lot of people, they sidestep unnecessarily, right? Or they're backdashing needlessly, right? And they end up in a corner or they end up getting clipped because they sidestep the wrong way at the wrong time. And they get clipped by a massive launcher and then they're eating 50, 60, 70 damage when they shouldn't have ate it at all, right? That's one major thing that I'll really see a lot of purple rank players doing. And if you want to, you know, increase your gameplay and, you know, just overall play a little bit safer, that's the first thing. You want to tighten up your movement. You don't want to move unnecessarily. You want to have controlled movement, so not a lot of mashing on the stick when you're trying to do your Korean backdash. Or sidestep canceling is very important. So when you're doing a sidestep, you want to tighten it up with a block after the fact. So you make sure you keep it tight, concise movements, not overdoing it on the movement. Slow it down, slow the pace down. Another thing when it comes to purple rank players and why they stay stuck is they're often too thirsty for launchers. There's nothing wrong with wanting to launch your opponent, but the problem with a lot of purple rank, red ranks, and so forth on the further you go down is they don't set these launchers up, so they just throw them out there. So let's say you're playing a Kazuya player, they're throwing out electrics with no setup, or they're throwing out down forward 2s with the law, or you know they're playing just spamming down forward 3+4 with a Lily, etc. And the list goes on for launchers. But what a good player is going to do is they're just going to sit there and wait for you to throw out these wide looping moves that are telegraphed from halfway across the map, and they're going to punish you accordingly. So like, so you're spamming a Kazuya's electric, which is a great move when used in this proper context, one of the best moves in the game. But if you're doing electric from across the screen and I know your timing, you're going to do another one, all I'm going to do is simply duck and launch you for it. Same thing with a lot of situations. You're going to get stepped a lot and you're going to get frustrated. And that means you're limiting your offense to only launchers. So you're not utilizing the tools that the character has, like jabs, down forward 1s, down forward 4s, grabs, small poking lows. You don't want to use a lot of wide sweeping lows, even though they do a chunk of damage and potentially launch you. Those things are very risky. So in a sense, a lot of purple rank players and what gets them killed and why they stay there, especially when they fight stronger players that are Tekken guys, emperors, and so forth, that are playing with alternate characters and they keep losing, it's essentially because they keep killing themselves by overextending on offense and doing these very, very wide moves, or as I call them, haymakers. So you want to avoid doing that, and you want to play compact. So you want to have a compact defense, as I said earlier, and you want to have a compact offense. So you want concise movement, and you want to set up your launchers if you want to use them. So you want to condition your opponent to do certain things, and then you can incorporate your launchers in your mix-up and so forth. Which comes with the third point is the timing. The timing for a lot of purple rank players, it's the same timing. They never change their timing up with anything, and they wonder why they get smoked by certain players. It's because they know what you're going to do before you do it, and they end up beating you out with a certain move. It's not necessarily that they're matching it out. It's not necessarily that they're just being random. It's just that you've been doing the same thing in the exact same situation over and over and over again, and the person is responding appropriately with the appropriate punish, or just beating you to the punch. Because let's say you're throwing those wide looping moves that I was talking about earlier when I was talking about offense and trying to keep it compact. They know you're going to throw out a move that's 23 frames. Now, even though it's a launcher and you might be +1 because you did a jab before then, A down forward 2 from, let's say, a character like Law, or a generic down forward 2 is going to beat you out, and counter hit launch you is because your move is too slow. So you want to be careful of these certain things, or you wonder why you get sidestepped, and he sidesteps you every time in a certain situation, is because of that, which leads into my next point. I guess this is point number 4. You want to be situationally aware of what's going on in the match. A lot of Mighty Ruler, Revered Ruler, purple ranks in general, they get by off the flowcharts, and your flowcharts work throughout the stone ranks, the gray ranks, the teal ranks, I'll even say the green ranks, yellow ranks, and so forth, right? But once you get to those purple ranks and even the blue ranks, your flowcharts, especially if it's the things I've been mentioning earlier, if you have defensive flowcharts like you step without blocking, you're Korean backdashing too much, or you're just throwing out a whole bunch of launchers, these flowcharts are not going to work. And as I just stated in point number 3 is, if they catch on to your timing and know what you're going to do before you doing it, you done killed yourself and you done the work for them. So you want to be extremely careful with the flowcharts, right? So you want to incorporate your mix-ups more, mix up your moves a lot more. And I know a lot of people, they watch a lot of players. Let's say you're a Mishima player and you're stuck in the purple ranks. Well, you want to have, let's say you watch a lot of Boil Up, and you try to emulate the Boil Up playstyle, right, with the whole hell sweeping thing. That's good to do. You can try that, but you're not Boa Love. You want to play your own game, play your own playstyle, and mix up your own moves. Another big problem. This is a huge problem with purple rank players. They hit this ceiling, right? And the only way they can bridge the ceiling and get to higher ranks is by actually labbing. And I know a lot of people get annoyed with me for saying this, but combos are great. Damage is great in the game, but you have to know how the actual game plays, and they do not practice the fundamentals of the game. They do not lab character matchups. These are the things that hinder you from becoming a good player. Even though I'm saying this was purple rank, this is about every rank. You have to lab more. So if you're getting in a situation where you're getting beat by a certain move, or a person's doing a certain type of setup, you need to go ahead and lab that and understand what is going on, so you don't constantly get hit by the same thing over and over again. As frustrating as it may be, and I know a lot of people get caught in the moment and they get upset and they blame the game or they blame the player and so forth and so forth. You really have to buckle down, you know, take a break, go hit the lab and learn these things, so next time you see it, you'll be able to beat it. As I said before, you're going to meet a lot of flowcharts and the purple ranks, and it's up to you as a player, you know, to get past these things, and you have to have situational awareness to do that. So all of these points that I'm making, they tie into each other. So I just want you guys to, like, please heed my word. I've made it past the purple ranks too many times to count. So I mentioned labbing, I mentioned flowcharts and all this other thing. Another thing is your mindset, right? A lot of players don't understand. They're playing against players, right, that have been playing this game since day one, or they have legacy skills. So these are people that's been like me, that's been playing since Tag 2, T6, T5 even. So they have legacy skills. So the knowledge that they have accumulated over several years, right, is put into one game. And the fact that the game is easier makes your life a little bit harder. So you're a person that's just now playing Tekken 7, right? Or you're a person that's only been playing Tekken 7. There's no way you're going to bridge the gap of a person that's been playing games like Tag 2, T6, unless you go to the lab. So a lot of people mindset, they get defeated and they want to quit because they think the game is hard or this, that, and the fourth. A lot of people just don't want to put in the work, and that mentality shows. You cannot be lazy and be a good player. Now, there are some people that are naturally talented at the game, right? They have a natural knack for video games or natural knack for fighting games, but that's not the normal player. The normal player is going to have to put in an insurmountable amount of work to actually see some actual results, right? Which goes into my next point. Please stop emulating pro players, right? If you're going to emulate a pro player, right, you want to understand why they do what they do, right? Like, really analyze their gameplay, analyze why they made this decision here, and then try to test it out in the lab. Again, everything that I say goes hand in hand with each other. You cannot do one without doing all of these. This is a complete guide of how you can get out of the purple ranks and even very far into the blue ranks. So don't emulate things, understand things. You want to understand why the player's doing what they're doing, and so forth and so forth. So the next thing I want to touch on is probably tip number 6 or 7, is please study your own footage, especially your losses. A lot of people, especially in the PS4, they don't take advantage of the fact that they can watch their own replays and see where they made a mistake. A lot of people, they keep losing and they go on to the next match, on to the next match, on to the next match, without truly understanding why the hell they lost. And then if they don't understand why they lost, the pattern continues and you get frustrated and you no longer want to play the game, or you try to switch to another character to make up for the lack of skill on another. Now, with that being said, I understand that there are characters that are harder than others, but a lot of the time for a lot of purple rank and below players, it's not so much of a character deficiency that's the problem. It's a skill deficiency. You have a skill deficiency. There's certain things that you are missing, right? So there's that. Tip number 8. And this is my biggest tip. If you made it this far to the video, please thank you and subscribe. And I know you're going to hate this, and I know a lot of pro players drill this into your head 24/7. You have to practice the fundamentals. What are the fundamentals? A lot of people have this misinterpretation that Korean backdashing and these things are micro dashing or forward dash blocking and all these sidestep canceling. All these things are fundamentals. Fundamentals are building blocks. So let's take it from step 1 and figure out where the fundamental weaknesses are. Okay, so let's say you're a person that throws a lot of highs. You don't check with your mids. That means you need to check with your mids, right? Understanding how the game works, right? So mid, low, high, right? Those are the things that you can get hit by. Grabs are highs. Those are unblockables, right? Understanding the core mechanics of the game. Now, the things I mentioned as far as sidestep canceling, forward dash blocking, Korean backdash, sidestep canceling, these in my are intermediate to advanced fundamentals. You need to understand the bare basics of the game, and nobody wants to take time to do that because the groundwork is boring. People like me, I find the groundwork to be the most interesting part of the game, right? And no matter what player tells you, you will never master the fundamentals because it's the hardest thing in any fighting game. It just is, because to me, when you're playing a fighting game and you're playing against a player, the fundamentals, they really turn into a rock, paper, scissors match, really. It really does. So you want to practice the fundamentals. Make sure that your movements are tight and concise. You don't want to match out your movements to get a whole bunch of missed inputs. These are fundamental things. Start off slow. Like, let's say you want to work on your Korean backdash. Start off slow. You want to do it properly. You want to do it effectively, and you want to be efficient with it. You don't want to be sloppy and all over the place and then wonder why you get a hit. Same thing if you're playing a Mishima and you want to learn the wave dash movement. Take your time. Do it slowly. And the reward is much better than trying to rush through it. So that's another mindset thing. A lot of the purple rank players, they try to rush through skill. Like, there's no shortcut. I've talked to a lot of players about this before. When people ask me for advice about getting good at Tekken 7, I always tell them there's no shortcut. You just have to play the game. You have to lab. You have to do these things. Now, you can always talk to professional players or players that are higher than you and ask for some advice. So what should I practice here? What should I practice there? And, you know, make sure you do your own research to confirm or deny if they're telling you the right thing. Even with me, you can always fact check me on what I'm saying. And if you feel like it's incorrect, then by all means, don't take my advice. But if you feel like it's correct, go ahead. This is a mentality thing all around. So I can say tip number 9 is please stop fucking rage quitting. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. You will never learn if you keep rage quitting and, you know, being salty and sending hate mail. That same energy you're using sending hate mail and, you know, rage quitting, you could be putting that into the lab and getting good, right? So please stop rage quitting. I know I talk about that all the time. If you watch my streams, don't do that. That's corny. Be a better player. Be better than that. Understand that you lost and hold your L. One of the biggest pet peeves that I have about Tekken 7, and it's the reason why a lot of lower ranks never get higher than where they're supposed to be, is they care way too much about the fucking rank. I was talking with people earlier, and I always get this sense that their rank, they feel like their rank ties to their skill. In my personal opinion, if you are good at the game, you are good at the game. No matter what your rank says, you're good at the game, and it will reflect by your skill level. So if you're always searching for that rank and you're playing rank solely for rank instead of to improve yourself, you're going to play sloppy, especially when you get that promotion match. So you have done all the groundwork earlier by beating opponent after opponent, or if you're deathmatching, you done beat this person several times, and then that promotion match comes, and because your mentality is so focused on getting the rank instead of actually just beating the player, it cuts your skill level in half and you end up playing way sloppier. Haven't you noticed that a lot of players that have already hit Tekken guys, true Tekken guys, so forth and so forth, when they're ranking up their characters and they're getting out of the purple ranks, they get through it with so ease, even though they are trash with the character. Like right now with Akuma, I am ass. Like I am not good with Akuma at all. But I'm not really focused on the rank, seeing as though I already know I can get it. So it comes from a confidence thing too. So a lot of people, they get so hung up over the rank, they forget how to actually play the game, and their performance suffers. So look at the high ranks or the high ranking players, or look at professional players. They are dead set on beating their opponent. Nothing else matters but actually beating their opponents, understanding what they're doing, and so forth and so forth. And speaking of that, I can go into tip number 10. Pay attention. It goes back into situational awareness, but no, really pay attention. Not only pay attention to what you're doing, but also paying attention to what your opponent is doing. Like a lot of people, they subconsciously understand what's going on, but they're not consciously doing anything about it. So subconsciously, you know that every time he's playing Brian and he does a jab, he does sidestep, and he goes into a hatchet kick, right? Subconsciously, you know that. Subconsciously, you know what to do against that. But consciously, you're not telling yourself, hey, I need to, find a way to get around this. Rather, I do a faster homing move that'll beat out the hatchet kick, or I'm going to duck and make a hard read on the hatchet kick, or I can step the hatchet kick to the right, no, to the left actually. I can sidestep the hatchet kick to the left, or I can try to challenge it with a jab because it doesn't high crush. So a lot of people, they don't think of how to beat a situation. They subconsciously, they know how to beat it. They're like, oh yeah, I knew he was going to do a hatchet kick, right? But they're not consciously telling themselves, hey, I need to stop getting hit by this because it's costing me, right? And it leading me to situations that I don't want to be in. Or let's say another typical thing what law players do when they do any kind of string into down 2-3, right? You know it's coming. He's done it several times. Sometimes you block it, sometimes you don't, but you know it's coming. You done everything I done told you to do in this video, right? You've studied it, you've labbed it, you know exactly what to do. You're paying attention to your opponent. The last part is just actually, applying it. Consciously applying what you actually learned through all the labbing, through all the practice matches, through all the rank matches, all the experience that you get. You have to actually apply these things and consciously apply these things. And that's where a lot of purple rank players, they fail, right? And even high rank players, they fail at it too. They can lab something 24/7, and then when it comes time to actually doing it, they can't. So my biggest 3-step program to actually getting good at Tekken 7, or in this case, just getting past the purple ranks, but this can carry you through well into the to Emperor, Tekken King, even Tekken God, and higher if you apply these perfectly and you just put in the time to get good at the game. The first step is, of course, understanding the game, the fundamentals, right? Step number 2 is understanding your opponent and what they want to do, right? And step number 3 is putting both of those steps together, right? And applying what you learned through various situations and understanding how to beat your opponent. So I'm gonna tie it up right here. That's all I have to say for this video. I hope you guys enjoy the promotion match, and don't forget, you can always get these ranks. Just follow the guide all the way through. Really take what I said into consideration, right? And also check out other content creators. There's a lot of content creators that can help you if you just watch and ask questions that can help you get to the ranks you want to be at. So with all that being said, this is a Chill Scrub. I hope you guys have a good one, and peace.
Round 2. Fight. Round 3. Fight.
Yeah.